Welcome to the ASEF podcast, where we explore the vibrant world of Slovenian art. I'm Tjaša, an ASEF Junior Fellow 2021 and a PhD student specializing in immersive experiences and well-being. Throughout this series, I am in conversation with talented Slovenian artists who are making waves in both domestic and foreign cultural scene. We delve into their perspectives on the challenges and opportunities facing Slovenian art today, as well as their vision for the future of Slovenian art compared to foreign artistic practices. In today's episode, I'm thrilled to welcome Aljaž Bezjak, an accomplished Slovenian digital artist currently operating as a digital nomad while maintaining his base in London. Aljaž began his artistic journey at the Faculty for Applied Sciences, specializing in the Department of Photography in Ljubljana in Slovenia. Graduating in 2018, his bachelor's degree project focused on the digital colorization of black and white photography, exploring the work of well-known Slovenian photographer Stojan Kerbler. Before relocating to England in 2016, Aljaž polished his skills as a visual effect artist and video editor at Studio Ritem in Ljubljana. He also established himself as a professional photographer and filmmaker. In 2016, he joined Recom Farmhouse, a prominent CGI and creative retouching studio, where he has contributed to a diverse scope of projects ranging from fashion and fine arts to full CGI renderings of cars and set building. Through dedication and talent, Aljaž rose to a leadership position, serving as a creative project lead, senior creative retoucher, and CGI artist. In 2023, Aljaž founded his own creative company. Presently, he works as a digital nomad, collaborating on various projects while traversing different locations. Join us as we delve into his artistic journey and gather insights into the life and work of this remarkable digital artist. Aljaž, thank you very much for joining me today on the ASEF podcast. This is very inspiring CV, and I am looking forward to hearing more. Good morning or good evening in your part of the world. Where are you based at the moment?
Thank you very much for having me. This is really, I haven't heard so many nice words in a row about me for a while. So thank you very much. Really, let me just express my gratitude because it's really amazing to be here with you and on this podcast.
Thank you.
Where I am in the world at the moment, I'm in Thailand. So that means I'm around 6 hours ahead of you and maybe 15 degrees hotter than where you are. So it's getting a bit much, I have to say, after a couple of months of very hot weather, but I shouldn't complain. It's nice.
Definitely nice. You can have shorts and t-shirt on. I'm still in my sweater, so well, that's good. So probably you're inside with cooling on, so it's good. We can have a long conversation.
Exactly.
So I'm really looking forward. So maybe just before we start, you just tell me, how are you? How has your week been so far? I know, like you said, that you're traveling, so I'm a bit curious. What was the most exciting location you visited recently?
Oh, interesting. I'm good. It's definitely not this life that we've chosen for now for the past 9 months, going towards 1 year. It's not like an easy, not to say easy, but it's not a holiday. So it's always an adventure, going outside, seeing what's new. So now that I can actually sit down here in Thailand and actually choose to be, okay, watch a movie or something, something that I used to love to do. It's a nice thing. And you asked me for like a exciting location. I think the most exciting recently was Japan, Japan. To anyone, it's such a different world for anyone that hasn't been. And even if you visit Asia and not Japan, it's still going to be quite different. So I'd recommend that.
Nice. So how long did you stay?
Japan was around 2.5 months. So
Nice.
we explored it quite a bit. I worked in between because, of course, you have to pay for all this, right? So it was a way of feeling not at all what the locals feel, but I got to work and experience the work-life balance in Japan, not in the Japan way, but experience that in a bit more local.
Interesting. We'll definitely come back to that. But maybe if we start our conversation now about about the beginnings, your journey from how you started your career, first as a photographer in Slovenia, then to becoming a retoucher in London. This is quite fascinating. So, could
No, thank you.
you walk us through the influences that shaped your decision to pursue photography first, particularly considering your father's profession as a photographer? Additionally, what prompts your transition from photography to retouching? And could you maybe elaborate on what the role of retoucher entails? Because I am definitely more familiar with traditional forms of art, and I will be quite curious to learn more about what is actually retouching and why you shifted your focus away from photography, which is quite a traditional,
Mhm.
form of art, and how retouching became a central aspect of your creative journey.
Really interesting question. So just from the very beginning, yes, my father is a photographer in Slovenia, and I did take a lot of inspiration from him. I think that was the main thing that, how sometimes you ask yourself, am I doing this because of me or because of the influences of my family? Or, that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you have in your family, let's say they own a little shop and you just take over because you love it so much. Do you? Or is it
Mm-hmm.
really you? So this was kind of a question in my mind when I was 23 and I decided to move to London. And why I moved to London is because I had good friends there and they offered me, hey, you can come to live with us for a couple of months, 2 3 months, and in that time you can explore and maybe find yourself. And so I did, and after 3 months also my partner joined me. But in that time I basically came to London to be a photographer. That was the main goal. Be a photographer and be influential. You have this 23-year-old mindset that you're like, yes, this is my time to shine. Let's go. I will become the next this or that, which then turns out that reality is different. And I figured that I don't really enjoy photography that much because to make money out of it, because this is what we all come down to, right? You need to make some money. If you want to live from that, you quickly realize you need to become a bit more, your social skills must improve a lot. You need to know how to communicate with your team, with clients, and I had none of that. And it showed because whenever I applied to anywhere, it was no, thank you. I even knocked on some doors, and they said, no, no, you're not even close to what. And actually, the reply once, I came to a studio, a photographic studio, and I knocked on the door and I said, I'm here. Can I just drop my CV? And they said, don't you have an email address that you can use? So, and at that point, I was like, okay, I actually enjoy creating imagery out of. So retouching is, for anyone that isn't aware, is taking photographic or CGI or any 3D or any element with photographic nature and combining it to create some sort of different art, a new feeling. So either creating mood or creating different colors or compositing images together and to create a new campaign, anything like that. Most people think retouching is removing some blemishes on your face or making a funny image. But I did that. That was the part of my work that it was mine. That was not part of my father inspiration. That was mine. Yeah, he didn't do that much. So then I combined these two and I applied for a junior position in a creative retouching company. And just as almost my money ran out, I remember having, at that time, 2016, the pound was very strong. So I just scraped enough, I think a couple of £1,000, no, a couple of €1,000 from maybe a couple of years of work to go there, and then I had half, and it ran out quickly. So when I got a job, I remember I had maybe £100 on my account, maybe a bit less, and then I got paid with an advance. So with this company, and there I started my retouching part of my journey. So that was Recom, the company.
Is extremely inspiring what you just told me, and you answered some of the questions I was planning to ask you, but you opened many more, especially you were talking about your experience when you moved to London, and I got the feeling that it wasn't the easiest thing that you done, but probably you don't regret it. I think that opened some of the doors for you, and maybe just to even to approach things differently. Do you think that you got that experiences to be more open and to find people to connect? Do you think you got enough of that in your when you were studying or at the university? Do you think that this experience, or you have to go out in the world and gain that experiences?
Oh,
I think
very.
it's quite a loop, right? It's
Yeah, yeah.
just you.
It really depends on what you're. If you're a bit more conservative type and you love the feeling of little nest, then Slovenia is for you, right?
Mhm,
You can't get better than this. But if you want to, I'd say for me personally, yes, you definitely need to go, because you are faced with the reality that how you we get inspired a lot through past. It was more like, yes, you go into an art gallery and you look at paintings, you get inspired and like, wow. Now it's through social media and everything, and you think, oh, so whatever's on social media I can make a living out of, right? But that's just not
mhm,
the case. You have to
mhm,
go there and meet those people and see what actually makes. I'm just talking about purely about money, because you have to survive. What makes money and what goes on social media? And usually the separation is massive, because bread and butter stuff you don't show. Boring, or however I can say, the project is usually sells well because they need a boring project for whatever reason. But the portfolio stuff, that goes out to social media, and everyone
mhm,
thinks that's the thing you're gonna do, right? No, that's not what you're gonna do. You're gonna do a lot of the bread and butter stuff. Then, if you're lucky and if you rise up a bit more, then yes, then you can do the cool stuff. But that takes a bit of
mhm.
work. And
Yeah, you have to be ready to work, right?
exactly, there, that was my mindset as well. I came in there almost guns blazing. Yeah, I'm ready. I have a little, small little portfolio here. Here I am, world, let's go. And it's just not the case. It is hard work, and even though I can say that some of my friends and extended family also thought, when I came back to visit, oh, and the questions came like, oh, now you're in England, now you must make £6,000 per month. Well, no, not even close. Not even after a couple of years. It's just not the case. So yes, to answer your question, I think you do have to go out to see the reality with your own eyes. It's going to be different for everyone.
Mhm. So we can say that this decision to move to London, to got ready to work, is definitely impacted your artistic journey. If I go back just a little bit before we start talking about your role at the Recom Farmhouse, you mentioned, I am curious, because I'm very new at that, retouching and CGI. How much creativity is in there, when you're retouching already, the photography that it was already made, someone, just
Hmm.
produced it, you got it, and then how much creativity, how much you is in there?
Very good question.
Because you're still an artist, right? Can you be creative?
Yes, you can. And that is, I guess, the best way to answer that is like, say we take, let me see if I can make this work. Say we take an artist, like, say, Constable, and you look at most of his work, you can kind of recognize, oh, that must be Constable, right? That is the same exact approach is what we have as a unit, that we have to get to that point. If people can recognize that this is us as a unit, or even better for me, like as a person, as like, oh, this is him, then so this is the goal, like an artistic vision. And what we usually do is, like, for example, yes, as you said, you get photos, but there's a bigger there's a more involvement in this. We usually go on set. So because I work primarily in the automotive industry, there's a big players, and let's take a hypothetical scenario as Mercedes, for example. We go on set and we're in constant communication with the photographer, because the photographer usually is overwhelmed. As I said, he needs to take care of the client, which is not just one, it's usually plus 10 people. You have art buyers, you have the big boss client that just comes in and checks if everything's okay and drinks coffee. Sorry, I've been doing this for a while and this is just what happens. Then you have producers, then you have, the list is very long, and that person, the photographer, needs to keep them engaged while doing his job. That means his job is usually at taking pictures, but other people build the set, and he just goes, yes, that's it, let's go. And we're there to talk with the photographer constantly. So what do you think? Which direction should we go in mood wise? And already there on set, doing shots that the client doesn't see, we do creative touches. Like, as I said, you see Constable, you see the feeling he has, right? So we need to get some sort of feeling out of the shot already on set and present it to the client, and they greenlit it. And well, let's be honest, they think they did stuff, but we honestly, it was us. And then the work begins. Then we come back to the studio with a battle plan. So the feeling is that we create something as a unit. That's how all this works, and then this is how you get companies, right? And people come to your company and go, oh, I want that, I want you guys because of your look. No one can explain the look of Constable, for example. You're just, oh, it's just Constable, it's just us. That's the idea. Yeah. And this is where the creativity can come. It's not technical. It's not, oh, we cut this out and put it there and I'm being creative. That, yes, you can, but most of the time the stuff is set in stone. Like, this is the position, this is how the car looks like, this is the lighting, and now you have to make it beautiful and make it feel like it belongs with us.
You have to have an eye probably for it, right? You have to probably have that feeling of lightning and the set, and probably this is the things that you probably can train and can learn, but it comes naturally as well. That's how I see it. I think, if you don't have this kind of a feeling of a lightning in, like an artist, and then you can put that into the practice. Of course, you train your eye and you train yourself how you do that later on. But
I agree.
Very interesting. It's so good that we talked about that as well, because now I have much better picture of what actually the retouchers are doing.
I'm grateful for the question, because it's a very low key artwork. We're just there. If we're not visible, then we did a good job. If we are visible, then, oh, what, this looks off, and then who did this? And it goes way past everyone and falls on us. And usually, so yeah, definitely appreciate your question.
So, if we are here now, can you just tell us a bit more about your role at the Recom Farmhouse in London? How you came to them, because that's a quite high key company to doing retouching and everything else. So can you maybe start with your beginnings with them, and then your role, and what are some of the key responsibilities and projects you've been and are involved there?
For some reason, when I came to London, I thought the best idea is to print a CV, send an email, and send it off, and hope it gets recognized. But also take the same CV and go in there with and knock on the doors of these companies or people. And I got rejected like 10 times at least before these guys opened the door. But it wasn't, oh yeah, thank you. It was a surprise. Like, what are you doing? Who does that? But then you see, it works. It's like, it's this human touch. And I did get I don't think I was the best choice, their first choice, but I think because I did that, it showed a little bit more humanity. And then I became a junior, and I did come there with I thought a solid portfolio, which they proved me quite quickly that that was not the case. And I trained for quite a bit under some very big people in terms of this. You know how you when we spoke earlier, it's like you either have it or you don't. And I definitely thought, oh, these people have it and I don't have it. What is it? And I still can't explain it. When an image works, it just works. I can't explain how it works, it just does. And yes, I started as a trainee and work my way a little bit, step by step. The trainees usually don't, they just observe. And if you're a good enough observer, then you get something to do, and it's a classic procedure. But you get to observe someone working like in, for let's say, let's pick another name, for Bentley, out of on a shoot somewhere in a very high end location with a secret car that cannot be revealed, and you're like, "Wow, cool." So how are they gonna make this work? And then they do, and you don't understand the process, and then you watch again and again and again, and you try and you fail miserably, and you go again and you fail again, uh, and until one works. And then suddenly, when one works, if you have a good team and a good manager, they will send you out to do your first project, to send you out swimming. And then either make them proud or you don't, and you really want to, right? Because otherwise, what are you doing there? So there was a lot of I think feeling like you don't belong is good. At some point, like one, you have your leg, at least one leg in that feeling, like, ooh, imposter syndrome. I don't think I
Mm.
can do this. And then you just kind of pull it off most of the time. If you because if you don't, your team has your back and they're gonna, but you can't just let go, always pushing a little bit. And in this way, I kind of slowly came up to a leadership position, which, funny enough, takes away the creative process a little bit, because you start delegating to other people. You're still creative, but that's just what happens. uh, your name is higher up and you get to lead bigger projects. But this is pretty much I forgot the other part of your question. I'm sorry.
No, it's just the responsibilities. What kind of responsibility you've been involved in, but I will come back to that.
All right, yeah.
Here now, you mentioned again creativity, and before we come to the management skills and how you have to lead the project, I am curious. You also mentioned that you have a strong passion for storytelling through visuals or through image. And you also, while you're working for the company, you are trying with your free time, you're trying to do your own project.
Hmm.
And I'm a bit curious, how do you approach this creative process, when working on your own project, particularly in these terms of crafting this narrative or this story through
Hmm.
visuals?
Oh, nice.
If you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. If I can answer it, interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see. First of all, not to go on a negative point, but this was pretty difficult, especially at the time when I thought that I wasn't good enough and I needed to prove myself, even though everything stated that pretty, I'm in a good position, but I didn't feel that. So I thought I needed to do something to propel myself further, and I'd started doing my own projects. And then what happened is my mental health suffered quite a bit, and I now kind of have this under control. But yes, some cool projects came out of this, and it did. My theory was correct. It's like I did my own projects, and I proved some. It's because it's a big team, and you want to prove yourself further for the next person, which was, in my opinion, I think, a wrong approach of how I was thinking. Prove myself, you know.
Hmm.
It didn't need to prove myself. it was there. Everything is there already. So starting with how I managed to get some narrative in my shot. It's gonna be a very cheesy answer because I love to just walk around, and if I go to the store by myself, listen to some music, and if I feel something on that particular piece of music, I usually write it down, what I had felt, and then I come back and I inspect the entire what even is the song about, and then I try to take that, say how can I make this that is audio into a visual narrative. And for example, one of my projects, it was called Black Sunshine. It's about this woman that is just running away from a vigilante, running away from her from a city, and she was being chased by a photographer. That was all out of a song, really. And in contrast, if you take one of my latest projects that I did, because I just really wanted to do an image of a nice car. And if you see the impact of those two images, of those two projects, actually, guess which one had a better impact, a bigger impact. It's just like the other one. The one was made out of feelings and struggle, and everything was connected, and the other one was just a beautiful image of a car, and like no one cared. Not that you need to have someone care for it, but if you deliver something with emotion, plus it looks really good, that those are just plus points, and you can put yourself out there a bit more. I hope I answered some
No, you definitely did, and it's not cheesy. You're just working as a normal artist. That's things come from deep inside, from emotions, and then you put this into your creativity.
makes
So
sense.
it
Makes sense, but
makes sense.
even now it's this imposter syndrome. Like, is this
Yeah,
it's just my way or whatever, and yeah, it's just, I guess it's part of the creative process, I guess.
definitely.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how long does it take for you? I know that you're very busy working, your job, but then
Mhm.
in your free time doing your own projects. But how long roughly does it take to create this kind of image?
Mm.
It is a long process, isn't it?
It's a long process because it's not, how nothing's ever good enough. I started to fix this now, and I can let go earlier, but it takes up to maybe half a year sometimes.
Wow.
So, so,
Okay.
so that's why you're like, ugh. Now there's a new there's a new kid in town called artificial intelligence. So you're like, do I even bother? But that's another topic that I think it's on the mind of every creative at the moment, especially working in the digital environment. But yes, I think, answering my own question, you should bother, you should push, you should create, because you can always use that uh, in other fields. Whatever you're doing, you can use in other fields.
Definitely. And it's also good for you. You are doing this stuff for you as well.
Exactly.
Just a quick, before we go
Hmm.
further, you mentioned AI, and probably everyone is, wondering a bit about that.
Hmm.
Can you just, in a sentence or two, what is your opinion about that? Where do you see yourself in, I don't know, 5 years? Do you think, is that even possible to think what's going to happen to artists,
Oh man.
definitely digital artists, because of that?
Yeah, I don't know what can be said that hasn't been said already, of like everyone trying to ease their anxiety about this. I think that, as I said already, you just keep being you, because if then you've given up. Just be stop. I've heard a lot of stories. Just the other day, I spoke with my friend, and he told me that his friend, an 18-year-old that was a great artist, and he completely dropped it, just because sketching and stuff like that. He completely dropped it because of the fear of AI. He's working something else that he's happy with, but that got me thinking. I was like, no, I don't think that's the right choice. I think you should push. I think you should know, and you who knows what you can use this later on, So
Yeah.
always keep it, all of it. It's nothing's negative. Yes, the AI is there to uh it still feeds off of our creativity, and yes, we also keep feeding it, but there's really nothing on the planet right now that I could say, oh, it's like analog photography and digital photography, and then it just took over. And no, not really. It's just a completely different beast. It's gonna take and shift everything. And I think in because of your question in what do you see myself in 5 years, I think we have 3 years to have you have one job, and then every 3 years maybe you shift because it's just going to go that quick, and you're going to be working on that, now you're going to be working on that, and use your skills. It's fine. You're not mastering only one thing, you're mastering multiple things. Keep going. That's so many different podcasts, and I remember my old boss saying when this all came out, he said, oh, I'm afraid, look what it can do. And that when such a veteran says that to you, a 55-year-old man, it was like, oof, maybe there's something there. Can we have jobs? But then look at us still. It's so many people need to go through revisions, and there's little tiny little things. It's just not a blanket thing that you could just say, yeah, this is going to take over. It's not like that, not yet. It's going to be. We need to adjust for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely not just black and white. And I think the value is going to, shift a bit. So if you are going to be able to do something with your own hands, and I think, the hand painted, I don't know, texture or whatever, I think that's going to have a much higher value probably in a
Yes.
couple of years. Now we are very fascinated about all this, what AI can do, but we will see. Like you said, if we stay true to ourselves and we are trying to probably maybe tweak a bit what we are doing and then trying to follow it, it's probably going to be easier. Definitely.
I think I agree. It's the community, right? It's you still have, yes, you can have a Freddie Mercury singing Frank Sinatra now, but you can't replace Freddie Mercury on stage. He's dead, but you know what I mean, or take any new artist. You go for the artist. And that's something that is still, it's humanity at its core, and it'll stay for a while. I think it'll stay for a while, but as long as we don't give up.
Yeah. Let's go back to you now.
Sure.
You are leading projects for clients like Bentley, you mentioned, Mercedes, Mazda, Toyota, and Genesis, many others. And these must require strong team management skills. Could you share some insights into your approach to leading creative teams and that you ensure a successful project outcome at the end? How did you come to that? Because you said that you started as a trainee and then you gradually move to a leading position, which is very, inspiring, and it
Thank
would
you.
be very interesting to hear your approach.
I was very fortunate. I had a very good team to build me up. I'm still reminiscing about these times. It's like, wow, I was lucky. Luck was a big part of this because my team was just amazing. Great artists, great communicators, great managers, and I learned a lot from them, especially as you live in the UK, you know how the British are very polite people. Everything was politely explained, even though it was a sinister undertone that you did a bad job here, but it was polite. This is something that is it's important in team communication. So politeness first, always be polite, and that shit sandwich approach, that is like compliment, oh, you did this bad, and then compliment again. that
Yeah.
that is like that is really bad. Just my advice, like, don't, you just take your teammate and or he or she, the person's really confused, what just happened. And so that was a big point of it. I learned from a very good team, and I also had some bad apples and my team pointed it out, said, you see, that person, I know that that person has ABC issues. So I'm not going to give that person ABC. I'm going to give them D, E, and Z to do because ABC
Mm.
is not for them. Okay, so it's like individualism, right? Because it's usually a smaller team. It's like max 10 people that you lead, and
Mhm.
everyone's different. And the more you realize it's about each individual person, everyone wants to be there. Everyone wants to put their mark in there. And when you let them do this, and sometimes you step down because in the leadership position you want to just take over everything, but it's a team effort. And the most important thing, I think, is what I learned till now, is that if you have your team happiness, if you have them happy, you're gonna make amazing stuff. And I'm not saying happy as in, hey, give them talk to your boss and give them a Christmas bonus. That's not happening. That's just adding something that is a happiness value. So happiness is it's different, right? It's if listen to your teammates. So I'll give you an example, the actual example that happened. So we were working on something, and I asked my teammate, saw him a little bit distraught, and was like, what's up? Really one-to-one conversation, also important. uh, you can see that this takes a lot of my time as a man. You don't do a lot of artistic at the higher you go, the less artistic stuff you do. You do the main thing, then people copy and try to get there. So the question was, what's wrong? Oh, my cat's really sick, so I need to go to the vet today. I was like, oh shit, sorry. Oh, okay. So I could just say, right, hope everything's okay. Let's keep on working. But that just means my teammate is not focused. He's not doing a good job. And that's just me postponing the inevitable, right? So what sometimes needs to be done is, in that case, it was like, okay, hey, I'll take over your thing, or someone's going to take over your thing. You go take care of your cat now, right? And so it happened. Unfortunately, the cat died, but it was the gesture was the thing that I got later on back, and it's like, thank you for letting me stay by the last a couple of hours with my cat. And then we still smashed it, even though this is something that that person couldn't avoid anyway. But we gave him something
Mhm.
nice. And this is usually the how we work and how we could deal with difficult situations. It's like sometimes you got to take from someone and take their load, and then they'll take it back. Then you have a
Mm.
happy team, and you create great projects. If you have a grumpy team, then oof, that could that's visible in your final art. Clients see it. The art suffers, and your image is broken, for example.
Did you have that experience of a
Yeah,
grumpy team?
yeah,
All right.
multiple times, multiple times.
Okay.
Yeah. That
But
was.
probably you learned something from it, and then
But
you can just.
that's exactly. But that those projects are the bread and butter projects. Those projects we don't show. These go directly to the client, and they do with them what they want. The
Mhm.
important ones are what it's a bread and butter project, and it's amazing. That's rare. And then you can show it
Mhm.
as a portfolio piece, or you do your own portfolio thing and you show it, and then you get clients in that say, we want this but not that really. You do something else, and the process starts all over again. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Aljaž, with your experience, I am curious of what advice would you give to maybe some young aspiring digital artists, let's say, who are at the moment looking to advance their careers, particularly maybe in those they are interested in pursuing roles similar to yours in that kind of industry? What would be your advice maybe to give them?
Hmm. I think it was what we spoke earlier already. Um, don't give up. It's
Mm.
another cheesy thing that a lot of people say, but it's really important that you don't. Just don't. Go do something, try something. It's going to happen. As long as you dig, it's going to happen. It might be very painful, and you might be without money for a while. Your friends might change, but you will just see who your friends really are at the end. who stand by you, and it's like all this is going to just shape you, and when you look back at this, you won't want to change it because it made you who you are. Just don't drop it. Don't be, even for example, that AI thing. Yes, it's there. That's an inevitability. It's there. It's going to happen. So your options are really only one. The second one, I wouldn't advise drop. The one is go for it, live with it, go accept it. It's gonna happen. So go for it. You can always pivot your as we said earlier, your knowledge. You can pivot if who knows what will happen. You just take a right turn, and now you're on this road. Go for it and accept it. It's fine.
Can you see yourself or working as a retoucher or CGI artist in Slovenia? Do you think there in Slovenia are there any opportunities to be successful in that area? I'm just curious.
Oh, good question. I did work with some Slovenian artists before. However, what happened is that we we figured out that we started working, and we figured out that they worked. So as a Slovenian photographer, he photographed a thing for a German company, and the German company was the same company that worked for us in the UK. So actually, it was a full circle.
Okay.
So it's still kind of going outside of Slovenia, you know. Even the Slovenians, they work. Let's take a company like everyone knows in Slovenia, Hofer, for example, or Aldi. It's not Slovenian, right? So of course this is going to happen. But I think that's I don't have enough knowledge to answer that if it can be possible in Slovenia. I think it can. We have some very good Slovenian photographers that are making waves again outside. And I'm some of them I went to college with. I'm really really proud of them because this is splash they did. It's like to come from a small town and just make a splash somewhere in Milan or whatever and come out there. This was my dream, that I came to London. But then you see, this all kind of envelops what I was saying, that don't give up. Something else is going to happen. My initial dream wasn't to become a retoucher and then start to do CGI and start to comping and working with all these amazing people. It was to be a photographer. And some people succeeded in that. My colleagues succeeded in that. I didn't. I found my own way. And that's just enveloping everything. It's like something else is going to happen. It's going to be great.
Just one sub question here, and then we will continue with my original questions. Do you think photographers or your friends who are now a very successful outside of Slovenia, do you think they get enough recognition in their own country? Do you think that artists in general, Slovenian artists who are living abroad or they are working in Slovenia anyway, do you think they get enough recognition in your opinion? Because I never heard of your friend, and you said that they are very successful outside of Slovenia. I think
maybe it's a niche thing, because I work in a very very nichey thing. Just to be a retoucher and then make my world. So actually my title when I was working in Recom was a creative retoucher, creative lead retoucher, right? So that's even a more niche thing. And then you only work in automotive, then you cut all this in half again, and it's a very very niche thing. So in this world of high-end photography, that they made a splash, yes, but to be very recognizable in a way that everyone knows them, that's a bit of a stretch. Yeah, that's not that's I no, I don't think so. But that's no, it's not like you would stop because of that, right? You just, not that it's enough. You should always push and to be recognized, but do you need more?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Is it?
Good
I
point.
think as long as you accept the world as it is and your expectations, you don't. Not that you shouldn't have expectations. Yes, you should have expectations. But if you can accept your current situation and the world that it is, then you're going to be happy about it, right?
That's what you need, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, of course. Okay, let's go with my next question. I'm curious, Aljaž, how you stay inspired and how you keep your creative juices flowing, both professionally and personally. Are there any specific sources of inspiration or creative practices that you find particularly helpful? You mentioned music earlier.
Music. You see how I can't get out of this imposter syndrome feeling that I don't belong here and try to say all the time, oh, cheesy, and that's all. I try to stop. Okay.
Yes, please.
Yes, music, and there are. I really enjoy video games. I think this is a
Okay.
very underrated medium, and it's incredibly artistic. So many artists, more than in film industry. Work in the video game industry, and someday I hope I can contribute to that. But for now, it's an inspiration piece, and every few years, and it is years, you get a video game that is just amazing in an art form, in a story, in narrative, in music, in effects. It's just, and a few years it happens, and every few years I'm stunned, like, wow, okay, what can we do in this world? How about I take this world and I take that piece of music and I take that movie and mix it all together and I see it doesn't fit and do something else. But as an inspiration, it's enough. It's enough to
Mhm.
just spark it and go, ooh, how about this for a project? Usually what the inspiration is what truly is an inspiration, to put this aside because it was very individualistic, to its community. You learn to you meet a lot of new people, and people come say, hey, how about we collaborate in this and that? What do you think about that? And then a collaboration, and it just is the best thing for an artist. And worked with a couple of people in a collaboration, and it's just wow, the amount of creativity you can pull out of that from another person, and is you can see their passion. Yeah, okay, maybe you aren't fully on board, but what we were talking about, a
Mhm.
teamwork, right? You let them be, and then you take, and if they let you be a little bit and you meet in the middle, you're going to create something amazing. I highly recommend doing collaborations with other people. That is just the best thing.
Yeah, definitely. If we come back to you, you
Mhm.
also mentioned that you love gaming, but you love cooking as well, right? How and movies, you enjoy all this interest, you have immense love for all this stuff. How this interest influence your work? You said game, of course, with all the effects and everything, but what about good cuisine or a good movie? Are there any specific cuisines that you maybe would say that inspired your
I
process?
think maybe I wouldn't say that it inspires. I wouldn't say that everything in my life inspires me to do something, because there's some huge dry spells. But what it does do, for let's focus on cooking. What it does do is it's a form of meditation, and I personally think it's a very good form of meditation where you can just do your thing and start swiping off thoughts, and as soon in about 10-minute mark, your all the bad thoughts go away if you're persistent, and then the positive ones start to come in, and those are the ones that can maybe spark something. Not that I'm looking for them, but it's not usually cooking is just for meditation, it's just to clear my mind a little bit. Movies, and because I did work in film a bit and video before I came to London. That's like that's a very personal thing. I enjoy, just especially bad ones. Whatever bad is it to each person, but it's just something that is, it's inspiring that someone managed to do this and they still published it, and I am here watching it, giving it my time. I think this is amazing, even though is it's just horrible, and I find pleasure in that, and it's like, okay, how about we take this and make something cool out of it, but inspired out of this extent. Um, let's take B movies from the 80s, for example. Really bad visual effects, puppetry, all that is like, oh, come on. But it has some sort of feel for that era, and maybe you could take that and do a project with it. That's kind of the process. What happens? Not always. Sad. It takes a while, but yeah, that would
That's
summarize it.
extremely interesting approach. And I would be very interested to see, maybe your next project doing something like that. But, the options are endless.
It
So
is, you are, yeah, I
very
agree.
good.
Thanks.
Aljaž, you mentioned that 9 months ago in September, you and your fiance decided to leave London
Mm,
and to journey as a digital nomads, combining work and travel.
yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about this and about the experience? And can you share insights into balancing work and life while you're on the road?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I can. Thank you for asking this question. It's something that, if you ever Googled digital nomad, you always get these beautiful people on the beach with a laptop. This is just, yeah, sure. Okay, you can do that. Yeah. I'm not going to say it's not impossible, but the reality is that we do different things. And I require heavy, beefy internet connection. And
Mm-hmm.
that means I need to plan where I'm going to stay, and I need to invest a bit more money in my place because it comes with a bigger price tag. And when it works, let's take Japan again, for example. When it works, 2 months of work is amazing. You stop your work and you turn and you step outside and you're in Tokyo. That's amazing. That's like a feeling like none other, right? But there's a downside as well. There's a double-edged sword. Is when your work doesn't happen and you're in, uh, let's take Malaysia, and you didn't really research the place that you're going to stay at that well, so you don't have much to do, and you're
Mm-hmm.
stuck there because you bought that place for 3 weeks. So this happens. And this is
Mm-hmm.
the only place. So, for example, we had to fly out of Indonesia because Indonesia just didn't have enough an internet powerful enough for me to work. So we
Mm-hmm.
flew to Malaysia and be there. Luckily, I was working at that time. It was a hypothetical scenario, but it happened here in Thailand, for example. The project didn't go,
Mm-hmm.
so you were stuck in this little town that is just is. Yes, you can go on the beach, and but after 9 months, you get, maybe I just want to watch a movie. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
am I allowed to do this? I'm privileged enough to travel. Should I watch a movie or should I
Should I
watch?
play a game?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm,
It's all this battle in my brain right now.
mm,
But that's the reality. I think we need another YouTube video that's like, of course, you have these
yes.
extreme videos, right? Yeah, the digital nomad isn't as fun as you think. It is. It's really fun.
Mm,
It's just not as glamorous as it's hard work. You still need to work. The chairs are bad. You sit on for every day. Your back hurts. You can't.
mhm,
You have to get used to the place. At least I need to. It's dedication, and once you accept
mhm.
that, sometimes it's going to go great. Sometimes not so great.
Would you do it again? Would you just
Go
pack your
somewhere.
stuff, put it in the storage, and just go again? You're living from the suitcase, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It is
Yeah,
a bold move, I must say. It's
yeah,
not for everyone.
yeah. I think I would.
Okay.
To be completely honest, the first half a month was very stressful because when you realize, again, this is personal, but when I realized that I don't have a home anymore and I don't have a job anymore since I left my job and became freelance with my own company, that literally means I'm homeless, right? And I don't, and I'm jobless and just standing in somewhere in Bali. I'm like, this is beautiful, but why do you feel really bad? Then I could, a job came in, and you kind of logistics come in. You get to work, get paid a little bit, and then it covers up, and it starts to become really beautiful. And it's not
Mm-hmm.
right, but I'm glad I pushed through and see it for what it is, and didn't stop and go back to, for example, to
Mm.
the UK or Slovenia.
It is very inspiring, I must say.
Thank you.
It is I think, yeah, a bold move, like I
Yeah,
said. It's not for everyone, so
yeah.
good luck and well done for that.
Thank you very much.
Aljaž, looking ahead, what are some of the goals and aspirations for the future of your career in
Mm.
digital art and creative retouching? are there any projects on the horizon? Are there any plans for you that excites you?
I do have a project that I'm working on. We just started actually. There's a very good
Mhm.
photographer in the UK, Tom Brown, and we started working together on a project that I'm really excited about. And what we do is we take artistic, like artworks, include a. So he wants to propel himself a little bit more in automotive, and he's a very good he's an artist with a very good eye and a photographer. He wants to do these sculptures, including cars or any
Mhm.
automotive things, and fusing them with his photography with some sort something that you would see in the Tate, for example. And
Okay.
you go and see, oh, cool, that's a piece
Uh-huh.
of art, that literal piece of art that you can walk around, and it's a good, and and it looks good enough to go worldwide for a campaign, for example. That's
Mm.
where we want to meet. We did one project like that already. It was pretty
Mhm.
good. This is like on the next level. So that, and then next thing, I really want to, coming back, to pivoting what you do. I really want to go towards gaming now. I think
Okay.
after these 9 months of thinking, I think it was like, oh, maybe I could try this. If I fail, fine. I'll do something else. But let's try. Let's see how difficult this really is. Is it as difficult as everyone says? Is it as difficult as everyone said that you can't just move to UK and be something? It doesn't work like that. No, it doesn't. It takes precisely 10 years of work
Yes.
sometimes, right? I mean, yourself, right?
Mm.
It's not a walk in the park, but the walk is important,
Mm-hmm.
right? The walk to the
100%.
park. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that might be it, but I'm not 100% set on that yet.
Okay. Yeah, definitely good luck. And I'm looking forward that we will talk, and after 5 years, we'll have another podcast and then
Let's do it.
you tell me all about it.
I'm
That
off.
would be great.
Yeah.
Aljaž, my last question. Can you maybe name three artists whose work really resonates with you? That you can just put them on your list and they said, yeah, they are my inspiration.
Huh. Um, Yeah, let's go with the video games a little bit, and let's do Neil Druckmann. I really, really like his storytelling. I think it's like none other. Uh,
Okay.
the Last of Us series is just something. They even made a series now, like on I think it's HBO, the Last of Us series.
Mm.
That used to be, for anyone that doesn't know, it used to be a video game exactly 10 years ago, I think the first one came out, or was it more? Anyway, uh, yeah, his storytelling ability is insane. And if I go traditional, it's just something about when I came to the UK and my fiance introduced me a bit to the local art. She's an artist as well, and then I saw Turner for the first time, like William Turner. That was
Mm.
like, yeah, he's my kind of artist. Dark, always with the sea. Love the sea, you know. Not always, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times. And this hazy
Mm-hmm.
feeling that he has is just amazing. Like, what? That thing again, you just see it and you go, yeah, Turner.
Yeah. The
Cool.
atmosphere, right?
Yeah,
The
exactly. Like,
atmosphere
how do
is
you do that?
amazing.
Like,
Yeah.
how? And he has this piece of, like, I don't know, this battleship emerging. Can you
Mm-hmm.
imagine doing that in time? Like, what was it, 1757 or whatever? Didn't have toilet paper. I don't know. Maybe they did. They did. I don't know. But he could paint a battleship coming out of a mist.
Yeah.
What? And if I go to music, I mean, yeah, it's music and film. I think Rob Zombie. I don't think it's his artistic name, but he was like defined a heavy metal genre in this industrial
Mm.
metal at that time, and was very powerful. I got a lot of my work came out of his songs. 'Cause it was just like, wow. He also did films, and like these are this is he managed to do like an aesthetic of an 70s, as I mentioned, like a B movie, uh puppetry film, and then did it in a
Mm-hmm.
new way, and he was like yeah, this is it. This is how you managed to pull the bad thing out of it and made it good in today's standards. So, wow, congratulations.
Mm,
So inspirational like that. I think that would be, maybe I can put, if you allow me, one more. I think Laura Bailey is, she's amazing. She's like this vocal artist of, she does all the, if you ever hear, for anyone that's interested, if you ever hear, look at any cartoons that are American, or any cartoons that are like anime or something, and it's an American version, and it's a women cast, like a women character, she's probably voicing them, and she's amazing. And it was
all
just,
right.
how can you be that good that everyone hires you for this thing? As like, sorry, I really passionate about these people. Like, wow.
It's
You know,
that's one of the questions I usually ask artists when we are almost finished with the conversation, because it's very interesting to see what is your inspiration, or what really resonates with your work or with you, and you can just kind of get a feeling about the artist or about the person you're talking to,
yeah.
because you picked a very, it's a very different or diverse palette of your inspirations. Sometimes I'm talking to fine artists and they will just pick three probably artists that they're working the same,
Oh, in the same
I don't
field.
know,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, in the same field. So it is very interesting, and I'm glad that you mentioned these names.
Oh, great.
But probably we can spend another hour, because I just it popped. Here are 4 or 5 questions I want to ask, but
Yeah,
I'm really interested.
yeah.
What is the next country you are planning to visit?
Oh,
That's
next.
probably with this question we can finish. But
Yeah,
really,
sure.
what is the next
Yeah,
country?
that's fine. Next country is going to be a brief stop in Vietnam. Uh,
Okay.
and then we're slowly going to finish our trip through New Zealand and Australia, and that'll be it.
Nice. So you're going to at the end of the world then? Down
Yes.
under.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that was really inspiring,
Oh, thank
extremely
you.
interesting conversation. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Um,
I'm enjoying your questions are really on point. Really enjoying it. Thank you for having me.
of course, next time we see each other in 5 years, right?
Hey, let's do it. Let's see.
It's a promise. It's a
Okay.
deal.
Thank you.
Also, big thank you to our audience as well for joining us on this podcast. I hope they enjoyed it as much as I did, and I'm really looking forward to the next episode of Let's Talk About Slovenian Art. Thank you.